Fundamentalism and religious terrorism is the topic of discussion in the video. On the screen here are all the key elements associated with fundamentalism and religious terrorism. In this video I'm going to focus specifically on what is meant by the term fundamentalism, premillennialism and postmillennialism, Hitler and Islamic terrorism, Aristosophy, theosophy, autism, theology. The term fundamentalism refers to religious movements who live their lives in strict accordance with the laws set out in religious texts. Anthony Giddens said that fundamentalists are traditionalists seek to return to the fundamentals of their faith. Fundamentalists justify their views through reference to sacred texts. For example, Christians, fundamentalists, apply literal meanings from the Bible. Fundamentalists try to inflict their beliefs on the world. This is done through terrorism or protests. This is a reaction to change in modern society. A basic theme of Christian fundamentalism is premillennialism and postmillennialism. Premillennialism is where there is no point in trying to reform the world, as they believe that the world is doomed until Jesus returns to defend the Antichrist. Whereas postmillennialism strive for spiritual and moral reform. Jesus will return, but not in the literal 1,000 years. Hitler's speeches revealed his faith and feelings towards the Christian ways. Many times Hitler addressed the church and promised that Germany would implement his teachings. Hitler outlawed all abortions, waged a death war on all homosexuals. Christians blamed Jews for killing Jesus. In this period of history, Jews were seen as inferior status to Aryan Christians. Hitler used the Bible and his Christianity in order to attack the Jews. A quote from Mein Kampf: "I am acting in accordance with the will of the Almighty Creator by defending myself against the Jews. I am fighting for the work of the Lord."
Verreiter Versager!
Mein Führer, was Sie da sagen, ist ungeheuerlich.
Die Generalität ist das Geschmeiß des deutschen Volkes. Sie ist ohne Ehre! Sie nennen sich Generale, weil Sie Jahre auf Militärakademie.
This quote is evidence that Hitler's beliefs and actions were influenced by the perception of him fighting for the work of the Lord. Aristosophy is an ideological system in the late 19th century in Germany that provides a spiritual framework for what was to become a national socialism. Wattonism is a pro-Aryan religion that believes that a society should be led by an elite, in the hope of a cultural pure and great united Germany culture would arise. This idea was founded by David Lone. Von Liebenfels developed Wattonism further. He developed his own religious order known as the Oint. Within this, you had to be racially pure to join. His ideas were known by Hitler, and the idea of a secret order played an important part in early Nazi ideology, before replaced by the idea of the mass party. As shown in Nazi Germany, fundamentalist belief has the possibility to create terror at the level of the state. Nazi state, this state allowed genocide. As a result of the genocide, around 6 million Jews were murdered. It was part of the Nazi policy to murder the Jews of Europe. Not only the Jews were victims of Nazi Germany, 200,000 mental and physical disabled individuals were murdered and 200,000 gypsies. This spread terror across Germany. A main question that is asked is that, can cultural criminology help us understand some fundamentalist terror? Culture is a set of values and beliefs. Subcultures may fall in opposition to the dominant culture. It can be argued that the Nazi Party is a subculture gang going against the changing in society, which eventually turns from minority to majority due to the rise of the Nazi Party led by Hitler.
Black September took the entire Israeli national team hostage. The slaughtering of 11 athletes and coaches and 1 German police officer after the 16-hour standoff was all supposedly assisted by German neo-Nazis. Anthrax attacks. Following the most devastating terrorist attack in U.S. history, The threat was still at large only a week later, as letters were sent to several media news outlets and 2 U.S. senators. The letters contained the deadly chemical agent in powder form known as anthrax. The exposure led to 5 fatalities and 17 serious injuries. 26/11 Mumbai attacks. The attack on the Hotel Taj Mahal was the battleground of a 64-hour-long battle between India's military and a terrorist group, causing a loss of 100 lives of the people checked in at the Taj. Russian apartment bombings. The Russian cities of Buynetsky, Moscow, and Volgodonsk witnessed a series of blasts strike 4 apartment blocks, killing 293 people and injuring 651. Ahmed Gokiev was ordered by Ain Katab to carry out these bombings. This initiated the Second Chechen War. Beslan school hostage crisis. For 3 full days, a group of armed Islamic separatist militants captured 1,100 people as hostages, including 777 children, resulting later in 334 deaths, including 186 of the children, at the demand of Chechen separatist warlord Shamil Basayev, in the name of independence of Chechnya. The Oklahoma City bombing. The Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building was a target for death and destruction, according to terrorist Timothy McVeigh. He ended the lives of 170 people, including 20 children, making this the second deadliest terrorist attack in the U.S.
Another one just hit the building.
9/11. Ranked as the worst terrorist attack in U.S. history, mainstream media indicated that 4 passenger planes were hijacked by 19 al-Qaeda terrorists in order to fly them directly into the Twin Towers in New York City. Almost 3,000 people perished that day, and airport security has never been tighter.
Despite the aftermath of what Hitler's extreme belief caused, even in modern society, fundamentalism still attracts attention in the West, especially after the Iran Revolution of 1978 to 79, which displaced Iran's ruler, which established an Islamic republic. There are 3 existential dimensions of terrorist attacks. First, there's a desire for excitement. This is when your adrenaline rushes off their acts. Desire for ultimate meaning. This is negative emotions dominated discourses at terrorism. And desire for glory, fame, can be powerful motivators. ISIS is a group implementing the Sharia law rooted in the 18th century Islam to establish a society that mirrors the religion's ancient past. The use of social media to promote reactionary politics and religious fundamentalism. Religion transgress against the laws that are laid down by humans. In modern days, society is becoming more secularized. Therefore, is religion to blame for terrorism? How do we explain the recent terrorist attacks such as the London attacks? I understand there are still extreme religious groups in the world, but as a majority, secularization is occurring more in society these days. Capitalism could be a cause of terrorism. Individuals in society refusing to be oppressed in the workplace or other aspects of their lives. So these acts of terror occurs to repel against capitalism. Are we using religion as a scapegoat, then blaming or highlighting other issues in society that could be causing these acts of terror?